Wrong one.
You goddamn little. Ow! Fuck me in the both ass!
Hi, Danny.
It's hard to
What's up, everyone? Sitting on with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you're on the Resistance. Here with Connor and good old Reddit. Connor, we had some fun last week at the end of the round table, didn't we? Called out Mr. Wannabe Antichrist or whatever the fuck he is. So, you called him out. You invited him to come on the round table. You even went on some of his pages and called him out. But he did not respond. So, you said if he didn't come on the round table that you were going to start addressing some issues that you had with him, some things that he's been doing. You're going to call him out, essentially, right? So, here you go. I'm going to give you a point, and I'll let you pretty much, take point. And there you go.
There you go. I was starting to get perplexibly concerned. The shit wasn't working for a second.
Okay, but you're good.
Yeah,
pretty much,
I totally invited.
Yeah, I pretty much just did the intro and everything. It's all you. Just go ahead and take point.
All right, no problem. So I actually lost my shit on the last episode at the very end, mainly because I don't like seeing these kinds of things. There's a lot of things in the world that upset an individual, absolutely. But what we're going to discuss today is deification. Okay. Now, I could
explain what deification is for the average Joe who probably doesn't know what that means.
Absolutely. So deification is an individual who proclaims to be, and I'll color a little bit outside the lines. Most of the time, the individual declares that they are God. But I will color a little bit outside the lines, and I'll allocate an individual who believes that they're part of the Godhead, an individual who believes that they are an angelic creature.
He froze it.
Here.
Somebody does. What the hell happened?
Yeah, it's probably a distributed denial of service. Someone's probably trying to make it so we can't do our thing.
Somebody doesn't want us talking about this.
Yeah, because it's not. This is the first time we had these kinds of issues. So
Exactly.
When I started doing this, I came across another individual that was doing the whole deification thing, and there was this individual. He called himself Real, and it was all over YouTube. It was a big thing. So this Abdullah Hashem there, it's not his first time. It's not this is not the first time someone like this uses the YouTube platform for this. But there is something different. This Hashem situation, it's being presented in a far more professional light. So normally I can tell people I could sell you a good idea or a bad idea, but I could sell you either one of those ideas in a good light or a bad light. And that means that I could tell you I have enough brain power and linguistic fortitude to be able to sell you the New World Order. And that when we're done talking, you'd probably agree that it's a good idea. Now, I could do the exact same thing and use the exact same linguistic skill, and I could tell you exactly how horrible the New World Order is. And individuals will walk away holding that viewpoint as well. I've realized that I'm capable of that. That's a very, very interesting linguistic skill. It's literally, for lack of
shaping perception.
Yes, it's shaping perception. It's a fucking Jedi mind trick, for lack of a better word, right? You don't just wave your hand and the people believe what you believe. You adequately and accurately explain why you believe what you believe and how it affects you, and then sometimes the other person's like, holy shit, I never thought of it that way. And that's interesting. And now their juices are flowing. Now they're thinking in a different direction. And now they're going to be committed to some sort of research. Unfortunately, that's just how the human brain works. If you tickle it just right, and if the idea is just sound enough, and if at the end of it, it feels like it's going to assist you, you will put forward some sort of effort, be it to research it, to understand it, to become part of it, to become a leading member of it, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So as we move forward, normally what we're looking at here would be somebody that would like to be divine. Now, this we see often in human history. The desire to be divine is not in and itself a negative thing. Because if you want to be a divine person, all that really translates to is that whatever God that you choose to believe in, you would appreciate it if that creator, that God that you worship, you would appreciate it if they touched your life, but not just touched your life. Like, you don't want to just have good fortune. You don't want to just have healthy children. You want to be touched in a way where you have good children, you have a good fortune, healthy children, and you're lucky enough that maybe you actually have good children as well, and they don't lead their own siblings astray, and there's always a black sheep kind of situation, so you end up with good children. And then you are a pillar of your community. People look to your family as, hey, that's I'd like to run like that. That's reasonable. That doesn't look like it's too hard to do. Now you're a pillar of your community. Now it's your city and your country. Your God has touched your life in a way that you have affected a positive change in individuals' lives. Well, that is what people would like to do, and that's called to be a divine person. The Catholic Church does it very well when they try to establish their saints. Okay, so and now let's get into like the more core doctrine aspects. So like, God is a deity. Jesus Christ, well, he was divine. He allowed God to use him to do everything else. Now, the thing is that Christ is also God, which this is where we deified Christ. The Muslims have a hard problem with that one aspect. The Muslims will tell you that the good God, the creator, they use the word Allah, but the thing that makes atoms and oceans and the air that we breathe and everything, microscope, everything, it's just everything. Okay, that thing isn't Jesus. That's where the doctrinal difference is. When the Christians deified Christ, that became a divide in the age-old
system.
Yeah, right. Because the Muslims believe he was the greatest prophet to ever walk the earth. The Christian believes that he is God in the flesh, right? So there's a difference there. So to be a divine prophet or to be a deity, like God is a deity, Lucifer is a deity, right? Christ is a deity for those, right? So this is what's happened. This is where the Hashem people, this is where it kind of get fucked up. You ready?
Okay.
Because we use the Islamic parts of it and the Western world, well, we have a lot of Muslim friends. So we've learned a lot about Islam through conversation, through back and forths, through barbecues that just chose not to put pork on the grill so the Muslims could eat off of that grill. Those conversations, right? People got to know the religious differences between the two. So this Hashem guy comes out of the woodwork. Now you'll get a lot of like racists that will say things like, don't bring me your religion from the desert. You'll hear that a lot. What are you going on about? Right? You'll hear that a lot. But then they'll bend a knee and they'll pray to Christ, forgetting that he was born in that part of the world.
Yep.
Right? So
It's like, who do you worship? White Jesus, black Jesus, adult Jesus, baby Jesus, or Santa Christ?
right, it gets to a point of absurdity. Like, people don't even understand. Like, it's written square in that book that, like, he was a Jew and his own received him not. Like, we don't need to question his ethnicity. Well, I guess we do now, because the Khazars got in, you see, and then the Zionists got in, and they legitimately warped the perception of what we know as a Jewish individual. When we look today, it's not the same, right? And then the same book said the same stuff about the false Jews. So we're not going to get into the ins and outs. But this guy, because he is of Arabic descent, and the Western world has come to a general consensus that Jesus is not coming back as a white dude, he now has a foothold. Okay? Now, here's the problem, though. It's that the foothold that he has is that he is trying to do exactly what I've been studying to do. I've been trying to figure this out for a while. Is that why were all of these religions fighting throughout the world? Why? Everybody's killing each other. It's a lot of it's gold, a lot of it's oil, a lot of it's politics. But men don't normally go the full distance and create violence in that way unless their conscience is reasonably cleared. Most of the time, we get that through forms of religion, where we're like, okay, well, God's not going to be mad, so I'm going to go do this for my country. So that's a very real state of mind for individuals to live in. So you got this dude that comes way out of the woodworks, looks like Jesus, has a bunch of people that are prepared for literally the second coming of Christ, while others are prepared for the coming Mahdi, which is in the Islamic view. Okay? And then on the other book, there's another Messiah to come, which is what the Jews believe. Because this is the religious tear.
We're
and the reason
all waiting on our quote-unquote Messiah.
That's right. And the reason why all of this is like ridiculously important, unfortunately, is that we need to know who believes what and what that means in the grand scope. So, for instance, the Christians, they believe that Jesus is the Messiah, that when Christ came and died on the cross, that he fulfilled all of the requirements to be the Jewish Messiah. Okay? But the Jews, they don't agree. They say, no. Jesus is not the Messiah. We are waiting for our Messiah. Now you're going to find...
they're waiting for our liberator.
Right. Now you're going to find a very specific section of Jews, and they are called Messianic Jews. These are the Jews who have come to terms and said that Christ is the Messiah, and we are awaiting his return. So they're not changing the way they live. They're not changing anything like that. The Messiah that they're waiting for is him to come back. Now, the one that the other Jews, the ones that are not Messianic Jews, they still believe that their Messiah is on the way. Okay? The problem is that the Christian writings have taught that if the Jewish Messiah and the Christian Messiah are different, if they are different, they will clash. If they are physically different individuals, they will clash. There'll be a war. What if Jesus just comes back and says, dude, I saved everybody. What? Why are you fighting? I even saved that dude over there. He don't even know my name. But I'm going to go save him. Don't worry about it. Why are you guys fighting? You guys know my name and you're fighting. I'm going to go take care of that little dude first. Right? It's preposterous. So now in the Arabic world, right, they believe that Jesus was the greatest prophet to ever walk the earth, and that in the last days, which is what everybody calls waiting for a Messiah, waiting for Armageddon, waiting for insert word of choice, right? They believe that one of the awesome parts about how awesome Jesus was as a prophet was that he earns the right to lead God's army against the Antichrist in the last days. Muslims believe that it will be Jesus leading the army against the Dajjal, which is the Antichrist. Dajjal translates to the deceiver in Arabic. Okay.
Which is
So
essentially the same thing that the Christians believe, only that God himself, Jesus Christ, will lead the armies of heaven against Lucifer and the Antichrist.
Right. That's why the big high up Muslims and the Christian Crusaders way back in the day, when they were captured, I've said this story before, where the guy drew a line in the sand and said that our differences are smaller than this line, and because of that, there'll be no bloodshed. Because regardless of whether or not we deified Christ or we did not deify Christ, both religious cultures, they believe that it's Christ that's coming in the last part. It's just the Jewish culture that doesn't believe that. They believe that their Messiah hasn't graced the stage yet. Their Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, is what the Arabics called the Dajjal and the Christians call the Antichrist.
Yeah.
This is a huge, now that see the religious context, it's starting to make sense. Okay. So now we're going to go in and we're going to slowly dissect the end times. Okay. This is how it goes down. The end times is this. A bunch of bullshit happens. Kind of like what we look around the world today. This is why all of this kind of information is becoming very prominent on the internet, because if you are an individual that reads the Bible or reads the Quran, there are prophecies in both of those books that state that the world will have done X amount of things before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So for lack of a better word, there is a religious bucket list.
Checklist. Yeah, there's a religious checklist that has to be checked off before we can close this out. It's like, okay, all quotas have to be met before we can close up shop.
That's right. So individuals that understand this, they become like the scholars and the keepers of the information, and we just pass it to the next generation, because we've all been told this at least once in our life. It's never on our time, it's on God's time. And our clocks, they're just not synchronized. Right? So, and we understand these things, right? Like, this is not a preaching sermon. I'm not here to ask individuals to convert to anything. I'm purely asking individuals to be aware as to what's in these books, because the truth is, and this is the
convert to TWVRN and give Connor your money.
Right? The truth is that it doesn't matter if you believe it. What does matter is that they believe it.
Yep.
That's the problem. Because those who
our belief is a very dangerous weapon.
That's right. They put their money behind it. They put their values behind it. They put everything behind it. And if you do that to an unjust cause, well, then horrible shit starts to happen very quickly.
Oh, so yes.
What we try to do here with TWWRN is to really like safeguard the viewership from individuals that are going to seek deification. Oh, I am the returning Messiah. I am the new prophet. And this clown, I am the Mahdi. No, it's not physically possible for him to be the Mahdi. Because, and I'm going to tell you, when you read the Islamic writings, did you know that the Mahdi is not aware of the fact that he is the Mahdi? The Imam Mahdi does not know that is who he is. Until
the hero of the story is never aware that they are the hero of the story until they become the hero of the story.
That's right. And according to the writings, it states that the Mahdi is unaware that they are the Mahdi until one night God himself transforms his soul. And when he wakes up, he is the Mahdi. But the qualifications of what is the Mahdi is a very specific one. I had mentioned it in the past, and I'll mention it here, is that they have a very specific job. That individual has a very specific job. And I believe, unfortunately, we all know about the 2 prophets that have to die at a wall first before it all goes to start. I believe, honest to goodness, that the Mahdi is one of those prophets. Because the Mahdi's job is to testify of the living Christ.
Yeah.
When Jesus returns to go through the end day apocalypse that everybody's worried about, how are you going to know that's Jesus? Because anybody can come out and say, I'm Jesus. But there's going to be an individual on this earth that's going to be able to point at Jesus and say,
that's the guy.
is the living, risen Christ. That's the guy. That's the Mahdi's job. The Mahdi's job is to pave the way for Christ's arrival. It does not feel like this dumbass is paving the way for Christ's arrival, because he's declared that he is the successor of Jesus Christ.
Yep. So he's
the only way you
the
succeed something. Yeah, and not just misrepresenting the role, you can't adequately represent Christians as a whole if you're declaring yourself to be the successor of the living Christ. The only time there's a successor, my dear friends, is when there's a death.
Yeah. And Christ sure as hell ain't dead as far as the Judeo-Christians are concerned. So,
are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna blow it wide open because we're gonna go etherical.
I think I just lit the fuse.
Because that's what this guy wants to be. He wants to be etherical. Anyway. It's not just the Judeo-Christian customs that say that it's true. Science proved it.
Yeah.
So where was Christ crucified? On the Calvary cross, correct?
Yep, on the hill of Calvary right outside of Jerusalem, correct?
Correct. So did you know that in that little hill, kind of like a mausoleum style thing, where you stick the bodies in the winters because the ground's frozen, so you got to wait to spring so you can dig it up, and then so you got to stick them somewhere, right?
Yeah, okay, wasn't it supposed to be that there was the Ark of the Covenant down there, and the blood from the crucifixion actually seeped down into the cracks and spilled onto the Ark of the Covenant?
Exactly. The researchers, they found
the blood, and they have the shroud Turin from when he was buried in Joseph's tomb. I don't know if they found the Ark of the Covenant. There is so much fucking speculation and conspiracy theory surrounding the Ark of the Covenant alone that it would make your head explode.
Find the nation that holds power and you'll find the Ark of the Covenant. But the Ark of the Covenant is not important right now. What's important is that they found the blood. The blood was sent to a lab to be tested. And the guy who ran the test, so at this point it's a double blind, right? Because they never told the guy where they got the sample. They just said, test this, tell me what it is. So they didn't even tell him that it was human. They just test it. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to have to reconstitute it, a little saline, do what needs to be done, do the science behind it, right? Throw it through a centrifuge, put it, whatever it is that they did to this thing, they did. And this is what he discovered, that this thing had half of the amount of chromosomes for humans. He only had the chromosomes from his mom. He didn't have the chromosomes from his dad.
Yeah.
And the blood sample was viable. It was alive. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I did not hear.
Okay.
Oh, that's a new one. I had not heard that before.
The researcher asked him, the science that the dude that did the test asked the dude that brought the shit to do the test where he got the shit. And when he told him where he got it, he said it's the Savior's blood. It's just, and both of these men of science cried because at that exact moment they knew they were holding the physical evidence that there was a living Christ.
Damn. Things you never knew.
So you can't be the successor to Jesus because he's still alive. Science proved it.
Okay,
Now,
so on what basis does this guy actually think he could ever be the Mahdi?
Arabic. Okay, so we know about like the how Arabs they use like the same name a lot inside of a family, right?
Okay.
So this part here I'm not 100% on, but the Mahdi comes out of a certain house from a certain bloodline and holds a certain name. He does have all those criterias.
So he's like, okay, checklist. I'm the Mahdi. Hey.
Right. So if he would have just
Except for one key variable, God never came down, right?
That's right. So it's going to get very dicey because this individual, why I get very upset with people who deify themselves, which is what this guy's doing. He's deifying himself. And like they're declaring like miracles, but like it's been written in almost every text that there's going to be false prophets, false messiahs, miracles, like wonders. And so like it just, unfortunately, after Moses and after the resurrection of Christ, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like, dude, the big man's running out of really awesome miracles. Like he's
I mean,
like,
it's kind of hard to upstage, rising from the dead after 3 days.
right.
And, that's kind of a tough act to beat.
So how do you follow that? How do you even like fucking beat parting the Red Sea, right? Things like that. Like it's just, these guys, like they had the divine power. You could clearly see that's what these texts have been trying to teach us. And you know what? Were these guys playing with funky alien technology? Maybe. I'd be willing. I would be willing to agree that the staff granted to Moses had some hypersonic frequencies that would move water. I'll bite. I'll bite. Like, I'm not opposed to believing because it's like I've said it before. Okay, it's written in all the books that God is not of this world. Okay, well, if God is not of this world, then he's a motherfucking alien, dude. Like that's the clear cut definition of an extraterrestrial. It's not from
spirituality
Earth.
and basically spirituality and magic is nothing short of a level of science and technology that we do not yet understand. Basically, a lighter in medieval times would be constituted as witchcraft.
That's right. And understanding exactly how stupid we were back then allows us to understand exactly how dumb we are today. And hopefully the next turnaround, we will be able to say, shit, look, we smartened up. But so you got to
know.
And he's telling people Christ told people to give their money to the poor and follow him. This guy's telling people to sell their homes, give him the cash and follow him. It's not proper. Now I've noticed that there's a lot of people on the internet that just, when we did the I'm gonna out your ass in 7 days video, when I did that last week, and I started doing a search every day for these 7 days, somebody with more information about him than I have has been outing him. So he has been outed in a sociological way, meaning people have just dug up dirt on him and have proved that he is not who he says he is.
Okay, so we've already established he's not the Mahdi because he obviously wouldn't be ordained by God if he's going against God's most basic principles.
That's right.
That
Now here,
that in and of itself, but like expand on some of the fraud and the allegations that are circling about this guy. I've seen it, Revin. I'm sure you've seen it as well. Connor,
well,
go ahead and elaborate.
you guys do the fraud and allegation, because the truth is I didn't catch everything. I just went into his religious side, what he was using.
It's another Rush niche bullshit, and I mean, no matter what religion it is, it's the same old stick old salesman wanting to sell you, oh, I got the cure for bullshit. Yeah, it's called putting on a helmet, you asshole. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's another Rush niche shit from back in the day. Another Jonestown crap. Another, I mean, it's all about money. I mean, everything about money. Religion, fake religion, all these cults. Like Scientology. It's all about money. It's all about control. Mind control bullshit. It's all it is. No more, no less. Big time, pig time, straight up. Fake enemy god, wannabe, so. It's all bullshit, man. You know, it's
yeah, you got me thinking of Sweeney Todd, the demon barber from Fleet Street. This is piss with ink. Who says my elixir's piss?
Right. So now that I'm moving forward here is that what he's doing with these people is like he's got people like doing like testimonies on YouTube about how he's done these miracles and like he's raised people from the dead. The lady sitting in a hospital bed, she finally stabilized. And then here's the problem with healing miracles, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, to all the viewers that have hit this, and you're trying to figure out how I'm going to debunk his miracles. I'm going to debunk his miracles with a very simple teaching, very simple science, and I'm going to tell you a small secret. Jesus was teaching the science. He was teaching the science. Just no one caught the play. Every time that you hear Christ say, according to your faith, or according to what you believe, okay? There is a moment in the book that if you read it and you open it, there's a story where there's a woman who she wasn't feeling very hot. She wasn't doing good in life. If she could just touch but only his garment, she knew it. Don't try arguing with this woman. She knew it. That if she could just touch the garment, she'd be healed. Okay?
Are you going sugar pill?
Straight up sugar pill. It's sugar pill science. Jesus was teaching sugar pill science. It was way above their time. They didn't understand what he was teaching them.
Okay, and for those of you who may be watching, going, what the fuck is sugar pill science? If somebody has a headache and you give them a sugar pill and say it's aspirin, that person believes it's aspirin, they're going to start to feel better and relieved of their headache because mind over matter. They believe that it's aspirin, therefore it's aspirin.
I have faith in the person
accordingly with the mind.
That's right. The person who brought me the pill, I trust the person who brought me the pill. I have faith that they've given me the cure for what I've asked for. I take the pill. Logic says I should feel better. And because I believe all of these things, if you give me a sugar pill, I will feel better. According to your belief, you shall be healed. It was sugar pill science.
Law of attraction, mind over matter.
Okay, so the reason why the Mormon faith believes in the power of faith healing is because they understand sugar pill science. They understand also that there are human beings that is just far easier to work with them inside faith. These are the works and acts of God. And we will do this, and according to your faith in God, you will be healed. It is easier to do that with some human beings. That's why all the Mormon priests, they have like blessings that they can give and things like that. It's just that kind of real. The psychiatric science has proved it. So we operate within it. We're no different than the Illuminati, guys. We know shit that people don't understand, and we operate within it. It's now whether we choose to do good or we choose to do bad with that information, that's where the line gets drawn. That is where you end up with a round table all about your ass. Because most of the time, when the general public has to deal with scammers, people like myself have to go on, make a video, rally the hacker troops, and then they got to go and they got to hack the call center, and then they got to scare the scammers. And maybe they just kind of shut it all down, give it all the information to the authorities, and we do it one call center at a time, as the saying goes. But this guy, he's scamming people
Right out in the open.
with flavor. Yeah, way out in the open, but with my flavor of stuff. See, if he took anything that we've preached in the past, reworked it, he has a solid eschatological and doctrinal view. It took us 10 years to put all these things together. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that he's outright playing or stealing my direct work. But what I'm saying is that I've researched all of this stuff. I've made videos about this stuff. I've been trying to marry the three religions eschatologically for a very long time. And this guy just comes out of the woodwork and says it's done. That he's managed to marry it all. That he is the be-all, end-all. And that he's the successor to Christ. He's the Imam Mahdi of Islam, and he is the and he is the salvation of the Jews, the Messiah of the Jews, right? Bring him here. Just hold on. I got to get a rock out of my puppy's mouth. Well, yeah. Then stop eating things. Okay, bring him to the grass and don't let his head go to the ground, please. There you go. So he's used all of this stuff, right, to really like brainwash people. Guys, if you're looking for an external force that's going to come and save you, like that's not happening right now. We're not there yet. Is it because when you look at the eschatology says that the stars will cast themselves from the heavens. Okay, I'm prepared to believe that it's the satellites falling. And then when the prophet had a dream and he saw the satellites falling, it's very real. The satellites are really there. They probably, for whatever act of who God knows what, could happen to fall. And outside looking in, the stars are falling. All right. Well, he said the stars were falling long before we had space junk. And if the space junk falls, it's going to look a whole lot like the stars are falling. I am not prepared to say that prophet is wrong. What I am prepared to say is that the stars haven't fallen yet. Even if we're talking nuclear conflict, because the prophet would have seen the aftermath of the falling stars, which would be mushroom clouds. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, radioactive debris, waters becoming non-drinkable, grass and all plant life being dead in the vast majority of areas.
Exactly. Now we got the
people suffering from radiation poisoning, wishing for death but not dying.
It's kind of the equivalent of what happened in Pripyat nearly 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Elaborate.
It was a nuclear meltdown in Ukraine.
Okay.
It has been livable for years. I mean, Pripyat, Ukraine was they had this. It's equivalent to 3 Mile Island Chernobyl.
Okay.
I mean, things happen. I mean, you see animals mutated and shit because of the radiation. You see wolves kind of fucking massive and shit, but yet they're still radioactive, you know.
Mhm.
You see deers with fucking big ass horn shit. Why? They're radioactive. Because of the radiation in their blood, in their system, they've gotten bigger. But yet you can't go near them because they're radioactive.
Mhm.
There's fish.
It's the pretext of every like comic book. Like the science that was mutating the animals became the idea of like, well, what if it happened to us? Like, right? It's a fantastical idea. And yeah, like those things have happened, but on the grand global scale, like it's supposed to happen, that hasn't happened yet. And then the other one,
like, honestly, I hope it's not like what Alex Jones says, that the water's making the frogs gay.
no, unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. It's just people never really understood what he was trying to say. Okay,
Yeah.
so do you know why the water's making the freaking frogs gay? Like, do we know why?
Estrogen. The estrogen in the water.
Estrogen.
Women take birth control, then piss out the majority of it, and the majority of what's in those birth control medications, and Plan B pills and whatnot, it's estrogen, and they piss it out, and it goes into the water supply, and we don't filter for estrogen, so it goes back into the water supply. We drink it, the animals drink it, and we wonder why the frogs are turning gay and why all boys are either fucking simps or going trans. There you go. I just solved gay frogs.
Yeah. I just always try to figure out what's right. You can't talk about the gay frogs, dude.
Too late.
So now Jones spoke
it's
about the gay frogs. What attention he was bringing was the water filtration systems used for the public consumption. I want to look into that. And what scientific basis did he have? Well, amphibians have this amazing ability. Okay, so if I have an entire one of those females can make herself into a male so that she can fertilize all of the female eggs around. Propagation of the species.
Basically, go back and watch Jurassic Park 1.
Right.
Any frog in a single-sex environment can change their sex from male to female in that single-sex environment in order to continue the population of the species.
So why the red flag? If amphibians can do that, why does it matter? Well, the only time they tend to do that is when the sex ratio is off. So high-level female, low-level male, not enough sperm to fertilize every egg. We're just going to play with the numbers. Don't worry, girls, we got this figured out. What was happening in that specific pond that was being studied was that the ratio was fine. And that
but there was too much estrogen in the frog.
The male frogs were becoming female. Now, although they're amphibian and although they can do the gender swap, it's not natural for the male to go female. It's more natural for it to go a bunch of females need one male to finish it. Rarely will you see a bunch of males together and then it's like, okay, well, some of us have got to turn into girls, guys. Most of the time, these males are like, no, I'm rather attached to my junk. I'm just going to go hop over there. There's got to be a bitch somewhere. Right? So, and then you find them on the roads and you find them there, right? But when it's a population of females, like in the mating ritual of the amphibian, she ain't going nowhere. No different than the crocodiles. She ain't going nowhere. He gonna come. Don't worry. I'm gonna sing a nice song. He'll be here. And when they don't show up, well, it's all right because the girls will take care of themselves. But for it to be the opposite, the science became a red flag, a cause for concern. So the water's turning the freaking frogs gay. Why? And if it is that body of water, a open reservoir that's going through for public consumption, this might be something to look at. And all of a sudden, he was anti-trans.
Yep.
So truth and information is paramountly important from this channel when we push it out. But like this guy, he's trying to marry religions together that cannot be married. And unfortunately, there will be a war because you have out of 3 groups of people, and I'm not even getting into like the atheists and the Hindus and the other denominations of every other shit out there. I'm just using the 3 big boys that have the largest memberships that are skewed out relatively evenly amongst each other. So like in Islam, you have what is it? Sufi and I don't know. There's 2 of them, Shia and Sufi. You got those 2 kinds of Islam, and then in Christianity, we're going to be here for days. If we're going to start, right? We got like the Baptists, we got the Mormons, we got the Catholics, we got you keep going because it's been split.
42,000 religious denominations centered around Christianity itself.
Just
42,000. We do not have time to cover each and every one of them.
Right. So you get my point, right? So, but these two, for all intents and purposes, actually agree with each other. And then the odd one out is the one that's involved with the persecution and crucifixion of one book and the enemy in another book. Right. So it's like, oh, there's going to be a war. Because both sides believe that the Jesus character is the more important character to walk the earth, both sides are not going to like any individual that believes that Jesus is in hell boiling in human excrement. I know the viewers are sitting there going, I've never read anywhere where it says that Jesus is in hell boiling in human excrement. It's because that book's been hidden from you. It's called the Talmud, and only the Zionists read it. We've covered it in great length in our...
and you can find copies of it, but they're very hard to get and oftentimes very expensive.
That's right. So we've covered it in length purely to illustrate that it exists, so that people know that it is a thing, because most people don't even know that it's a thing. And that's disheartening, because that thing is the cause for all of the religious turmoil and the religious wars. And now in today's day, we need the politicians to do those wars for us, and we have to remove the religion from it. And so it's all very backdoor, fucking whitewashy, crazy nonsense, but it's all surrounded again around the same stuff. What would you do to a pedophile if he was directly in front of you? If everybody got a free pedophile to kill, would you be down for that? And that's the reality of it all, because this same book has disgusting things. We've covered it enough in the past. You guys just have to go and look at our old stuff to see what we're talking about. So understanding all of that, we know that there is a war brewing, but we also know that there's this one dude that says that he's from one, replacing the other, and is the one for the guys who want to hurt the children and boil Jesus and shit. So that he's on the Jewish side, because he got to get, this is what he's got to get the Jewish people going, because I'm telling you right now, that man, he's going to go one step further. The one step that I dislike, it's the one step we don't take. He's going to go Charles Manson. And when Israel's third temple is complete, mark my words, he's coming. He's going to want a following. He's going to want this, and he's going to want that. And if he takes all the downtrodden souls and all the people that just have no faith in themselves, or none of if he gathers up these individuals, there's going to be a lot of them. And if he tries to storm Israel with these people, it's going to be a problem, because now the Jews have to worry about something else. They don't got to worry about the Muslims on the border and the Christians not supporting them. They're got to worry about this dude trying to come and take their temple from them, because he's on a religious conquest. Truth be told, I'm surprised he hasn't been put out yet, on the basis of literally the Jews are preparing for their Messiah. And this guy is claiming to be that. They crucified the last dude that said that.
Right? Like, I'd be careful saying you're the Messiah. You're the Jewish Messiah, guys. Like, they kind of did some very nasty stuff to the last guy who said that.
Got a whole book about it. It's like fucking, there's 2 chapters, nothing but a snuff novel. Like,
Shit.
right?
Like,
So
they
it's like,
reiterate the story, 4 times from 4 different perspectives?
yep. So
It was
here's
like,
where
I don't think you got the crucifixion story and how brutal it was from the first guy that told you. So we're going to tell you from the perspective of 3 other guys.
like I'm telling you, like, if all of this religious theology aspect, if there's wide truth attached to it, Jesus is up there going, "Oh shit, you're gonna let him do this? You know how this ends? Why would you?" And Jesus is gonna be looking at the big man. I'm starting to understand why they don't call you a just God. There's gonna be some conversations upstairs
Oh, yeah.
about the humans doing the nonsensical shit that we're doing. So, and a lot of people have always said, well, like you, like, have you ever considered that, like, you are a prophet of sorts? I figured out that I'm an interesting human being. I'm numbered amongst the few people that think in words and in pictures at the same time. So, like, I think in movies. Man, I found out, dude, like, psychologists are saying, like, there's people that don't even think in sound, like, they only think in colors. So like the internal monologue, the ability to have a conversation with yourself inside of your head is not a gift everybody has, I'm told.
Yeah, and it can be a very troublesome gift for those who experience that. But I don't want to get too far off point here.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. Because if you're right, if you are religiously inclined and you have that gift, you can lead people astray very easily. So I've made it my mission to make sure that people understand that there are people like me that have the information that I have. They want your money. They want to build an entire religion around the information that we share freely.
And to think we could have been
I would
millionaires.
say about what I said before, a long time ago. I don't want to be a deity. I just want to be who I am. I don't think to be I want to be this, that. No, I want to be man. Stay who I am.
The problem with
the good
people wanting. Go ahead.
But the problem, you have these people who are saying, "Well, let's fool these people proclaim that we're this and we're this age." And like, man, I'm glad of who I am. I don't want to be a deity. I don't want to be a god. I want to be who I am. I'm proud to be who I am. No, I don't claim to be a god. I'm a man. I'm man.
That's right.
That's who I am. I was born human, and I will always be a human.
That's right.
But you got these idiots claiming, "Oh, I'm the next prophet." No, you're not. You're just another fucking stick oil salesman. It's all you want. No more, no less. I mean, again, it's the Rice niche bullshit. It's the, "Oh, I am the Pope." No, you're a guy who thinks he's talking to God, but you're a guy who has a thing is there talking to a radio. You fucking moron.
Yeah. There's a lot of false prophets out there in the world. There's going to be a lot of false prophets out there in the world. But there's also a lot of people in the world that want to be gods and would want that, and it's for the same reason that kids want to grow up to be superheroes, or why you have things like the furry community or even the trans community, because people are not happy with who and what they are. They view themselves as weak, insignificant little bugs because That's what the system has conditioned them to believe that they are. They don't see the value and the worth of being human beings and what the human being itself is actually capable of. They do not
Complete
understand
manipulation.
they don't understand the sugar pill science that Jesus was trying to teach us. The law of attraction, mind over matter. Okay, the human being is a very amazing creature and is far capable of far more than what average people could even fathom. But we have been conditioned as a society to think that we are this insignificant creature. And therefore, we want to be gods, where in reality, we're the creation of God. We were modeled after God's own image, not just in terms of physicality, but in more ways than what we could ever imagine in our present state of mind. But we're just so caught up in this paradigm that we are weak, insignificant bugs. Therefore, everybody wants to be greater than what they believe they are. And then you get con artists like Prince Abibu over there, Prince Hababa, or whatever the fuck you want to call him, who's sitting there saying that he's the successor to Jesus Christ and is performing all these so-called miracles, to mislead the masses. It's sick.
So I'm gonna close this one off, and I'm gonna do it like this, and I'm gonna speak to his followers directly. Something that's important to know about us at TWWRN is that we don't script. What you just witnessed was an interchanging of facts that you guys are allowed to check. You guys are allowed to Google. You are allowed to research us. We are funny, goofy, and serious all at the same time. Our videos will show that. We are risque. We talk about the things that no one should talk about.
What does that want to do?
And I want you, the viewer, to understand something very important. You are enough. You do not require intercession from any human alive today. If you hold a faith, which you clearly do, and you clearly understand the story of Jesus, you clearly know that he interceded for everybody, never to have a requirement for us to have someone intercede on our behalf ever again. That means you too. You are loved. You are important. You are. You do not need to give another human being your money to hear nice words. You can repeat affirmations in the mirror to yourself, because we've discussed it on this channel before, to never say something negative about yourself to yourself, because the vibrational frequency of your voice messes with your brain. If I tell you you are no good, then your brain hears that you are no good and you feel no good. But if you tell yourself that you are no good, then your brain hears you are no good and does the exact same thing as if somebody else said it to you. Your brain will treat you how you believe. Your brain will let you see what you need to see according to how you believe. But what you need to understand is that you are enough. And if you really want to find out if you're enough, you're allowed to undertake Operation Human Angel, which is quite simple. Walk outside, find someone that looks like they're having a bad day, give them a hug, and you're going to see real quick that they're going to be extremely appreciative of that gesture and that act of kindness. And why did you do it? You did it because John Connor said so. He said it was a good idea. It seemed like the right thing at the time. You can get out of a lot of trouble if you look at the judge and you tell him, "Oh, Your Honor, just seemed like the right thing at the time. But looking back, I can understand how this has gotten me in hot water, and all I can do is pray for lenience." Okay? You go, you be a positive force in your own community, and you will see a positive change. And you will be the reason why it happened. But that positive change, that energy, that everything that is required of you to do that will be impossible if you give all of that to some other dude to do it for you on your behalf. Take the reign, live the life. The world is there. And brothers and sisters of the world, you are enough.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. I had to make sure, like, you can't just attack a dude. You can't just attack a dude and not offer a legitimate solution. You can't reach out to people and tell them that they're being preached to inappropriately and wrong, and not actually make sure that they are aware of the fact that they hold the power of their life, their
Yeah,
happiness.
you don't
Their,
just show why somebody is wrong. You have to show why you are right. And in terms of people's self-worth, Jesus taught this time and time again. Belief, the fucking sugar pill science. Belief. If you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And like Connor was saying, go out there, Human Angel, Operation Human Angel. You have no idea the power of a simple, kind word, a simple gesture. It takes somebody who may be contemplating suicide or doing something stupid like shooting up a school or their work. One simple word can change an entire outcome from a bad day to just heaven on earth. You have no idea how much power you have, even just in your words and your actions, your power of belief, your sense of self-worth, and your power to empower others. That is your greatest gift, is to enlighten others. The elites say they are the enlightened, but they keep this information to themselves, and people like us, Alex Jones, and so many others are out there preaching the truth, preaching the light as best as they know how. And granted, we're all on different wavelengths. We all understand things differently. Not everybody is going to be on the same page or the same level. But one thing we can all agree on is that truth is universal, regardless of how much you don't know or how much you do know. And one truth we can say is that you are beautiful. You are worth so much more than what society and the system tells you are. You just have to believe in that and share it with your fellow man. That is what makes you the resistance, is sharing these universal truths. And if you are watching this on behalf of Connor and Revan, if you are watching this and this has resonated with you, go out there and be what you were always meant to be, because you are the resistance.
Never let anyone tell you different.